In this report, we cover The 6 Types of Working Genius by Patrick Lencioni. So this book starts off by identifying what are geniuses or types of human intelligence that we have. And the author says that we generally have 6 types of intelligence. Now, these types of intelligence are innate, and they tend to manifest themselves more strongly in some versus others. That is, any of these individual types of intelligence may be more present in one individual than another. But he said, in general, individuals possess 2 types of intelligence in which they excel, 2 types in which they're competent, and 2 types in which they are not competent or subpar. And ultimately, to undertake tasks or work in those areas of genius where you're just competent or subpar tends to be very draining on you. That you tend to be far more productive and efficient and have more individual satisfaction when you're working in tasks that implicate the 2 levels or 2 types of intelligence where you excel. So the author relates high-performing teams to individuals working productively and being individually satisfied. So he says individual teams must be made up or comprised of individuals of a mix of these various types of intelligences. He says that every type of project has a framework and that you must align these individual intelligences along that framework in order to be most effective in carrying out the project. Now, like most of Lencioni's books, he begins the book with a fable. It's a story where a manager is feeling drained, not motivated, and he ultimately gets some harsh feedback from some of his direct reports. And he sits down to have a conversation with these direct reports, and he starts to learn more about them, and they start to learn more about him. It's a give and take during the conversation, but it starts to uncover what are the individual geniuses or natural intelligences that each of these individuals have, and it starts to reveal or present the necessity of the framework that the author proposes. So the 6 types of intelligence that the author identifies are, first, wonder, which is the pensive or thinking ability or approach. That is, you examine problems and think about them deeply and are effective at that. Invention is where you actually come up with solutions that can address specific problems that you've identified. Discernment is whether you can evaluate different courses of actions or options or inventions that are addressing a problem to determine which is the best or which is the most valuable. Galvanizing is when you can set processes in place and you can establish a firm means or method for carrying out things. That is, allocating resources to them and coming up with a plan for carrying them out. Enablement is when you focus on enabling others or helping others in carrying out their tasks. You are skilled at relating to others, discerning their needs, and ultimately helping them achieve those. And then tenacity is someone who is relentless with regards to the tasks that they carry out, and they are very apt or prone to see projects through, to finish all the necessary tasks to complete the project. Now, the author then breaks down the project cycle, and he says they're broken down into what he calls elevation, from high to low. And he says it begins with high-level brainstorming and proceeds through setup and then follow through. And says at each stage of the project cycle, you must align at least 2 types of intelligence that fit well there. And generally, one type of intelligence tends to be passive in nature, and one tends to be active in nature. So he says at the brainstorming stage, you need the more perceptive individuals, those who can think about things and perceive opportunities, and the individuals who are apt to innovate solutions to problems that are identified. Now, once you proceed from the brainstorming session to the setup phase, then you need individuals who are more discerning. They can vet ideas, and then the galvanizing folks who can move the business forward or set up operations to actually achieve whatever objectives or missions are identified as necessary. And then in the follow-up phase, you need supporting people, that is the enablement folks that are helping others reach their highest potential. That is, helping others reach their highest potential or achieving their objective, and tenacity, which is focused more on seeing things through. Now, the author ends the text by giving some advice on how to align your genius with work and duties, as well as aligning the genius of others and assembling teams whereby you use that alignment of project phase and genius ability framework to be more effective and competent in doing so. He also talks some about how you actually identify genius in others, which is largely a process based upon communication and common understanding. So this concludes our coverage of The 6 Working Geniuses by Patrick Lencioni.